Hey, everybody, and welcome to another great show. Now, listen, you can see them right there. You don't even know what's been happening behind the scenes. We're having a great time talking about business, talking about the next level. This is at least fantastic. I got my man Steven here, and we're so excited just to let you guys know what is going on. So, what we're going to do is we're going to just give you a panel, give you some questions, and you're going to see how explosive this new system is, this new level is. So I'm going to ask all the panel to please unmute yourself. And I'm going to start with, of course, my partner in crime, Savannah.
Charles, we're excited to be here. Thank you for sharing smiles with the world, and we're ready for measurable, true social impact.
Yes, and that's what it is. You know, I've been working with you guys for a long time on this, and it just keeps growing and growing and getting to the next level. So, Steven, before we get started, how have you been?
Been great, man. It's been such a great journey here. It hasn't been easy. I actually wrote about that on LinkedIn this morning. It's been really difficult, but it's so rewarding. And where we're going and the things that we'll be doing with some new great people that are involved, it's very exciting.
Yeah, and that's why we wanted to teach everybody to let them know what is really going on. So we're going to start off right off the bat. And Steven, the first question is for you. And I just want everybody to know that, you know, this is something that you've been working on. It's not a newbie. So let's start off right off the bat.
Yeah, well, for starters, let's just be clear. We started this journey a decade ago, and the whole thing was just about making a positive impact in the world. When we realized we got currently the data that's all available of how it's being done right now, we realized that wasn't good enough for us. We needed to create something new, which we did, and we've been tweaking it and changing it for the last 10 years. Honestly, someone asked me the other day, have you pivoted at all, or I call it course correct. I'm like, yeah, like every week. But PDT stands for purpose-driven transformation, and that was created because we realized through the last 10 years that if we really want to make a positive impact in the world, the way to do it is through building communities. And we see the communities now, there's digital communities with the social media and everything. We wanted to build them in each city. And so purpose-driven transformation, PDT we call it, will be in every city in North America in the next 3 to 5 years, starting with Toronto. And we're happy to say that in Canada, specifically, that PDT Toronto, which launches next month, will be 100% women-owned and operated for-profit social enterprise. And we have some of the partners here right now, and we're really excited about that because, as some may or may not know, almost 70% of the workers in the giving space are females. And so we thought bringing in a model that's actually going to start to reduce and eventually eradicate the cause should be run and operated by the females who are already dominating the industry anyway.
Yeah, and that's the main key is taking it to the next level every time. When a company stays there, you know there's a problem. There needs to be growth, and every time there needs to be more growth. So here's the next question I have for you then. Hunger and homeless. How does PDT address the hunger and homeless?
So our model is still basically the same. We do it through a membership model. That's a separate company called the Do Good Society. But that membership model, a portion goes back to hunger and homelessness. We actually have almost 70% of the $48.70 membership model per month, $48.70, goes back into the causes that we focus. The interesting thing about the Canadian one is we wanted to build a model through PDT that was also going to address something that a lot of people are not even talking about. We should be, because we're almost leading the world in it, is food waste. And so through this program, and you can see it on the website. In fact, you should see it on the website. You'll love it. It's called Prepared with Purpose. And not only can we feed people and focus on the food insecurities, and our homeless program is still the same. It's job training, guaranteed jobs, and subsidized housing. But now we have a model where we can take more food waste, turn that into food, And because of that program, that actually is going to compensate for the food that we need by increasing that. It'll also give us additional funds to hire AI proof people, individuals for jobs that will be taught how to take that food waste and turn it into stuff that can be used to eat. So there's an additional component now with the food waste and adding AI employed people, which is really crucial.
Yeah, and food waste is a huge
Awesome.
thing because in the industry that I'm in, doing events and everything, you see a lot of food waste after every show, after every event. It's just they're like, oh, didn't eat it, scrape, gone. Everything is like
Throw it out.
it's too much. So
Yeah.
that's absolutely fantastic.
The other thing, Charles, I just want to add quickly here is that when we started this, food waste was at 40%, so just over 10 years ago, in both Canada and the United States. In the United States today, food waste is 41%. In Canada, it's 45.3%.
Yeah.
So it's really bad. We need to do something about it. And of course, that also ties into the climate, which is good for us because that also ties into the sustainability things that corporations are doing. So we're going to attract more of them as well.
100%. Now, I just want to move on and welcome somebody new to the show. Wendy.
Hey, Charles.
Welcome, a first timer to the show. So glad to have you on here. Tell us a little bit about your background before we get started.
Right. So my background is I'm a mother of 3 children, always start with family first, 3 amazing young adults that I live with. And I'm a social entrepreneur. I run a charity of my own, and I'm very passionate about giving back to community and restoring dignity where it deserves.
So how did you join the family?
How did I join the family? I was in a space where I met Svetlana the Mighty, and we started talking as girls, and we connected eyeball to eyeball as we were sipping our glasses of wine. And both of us were like, wait, you're going to be my next best friend. This a couple of months ago. So got into the space because I've been in non-profit and charity world all my career. And so I'm very, very passionate about giving back, but not only giving back and doing good, but making a profit while doing it. So this is very attractive to me.
100%. So here's your question. Women in leadership.
Right. Women are central to PDT because we understand, often through lived experiences, how economic decisions affect our entire households and our communities, right? When a woman gains access to capital and leadership and opportunity like those of us here, the impact really ends with us. It reaches my children, my family, my community. In Africa, we have a saying, when women rise, communities rise. So PDT does not see women as beneficiaries waiting to be rescued. We recognize ourselves as investors, entrepreneurs, decision makers, and architects of transformation. When women lead, impact becomes more inclusive, more compassionate, and far more likely to endure. That's why I love PDT.
So then that leads us to the next question. Scalable model, like you talked about it, building scalable, the success and what it can do. Touch a little bit more about that.
So scaling social impact is not simply about becoming bigger, right? It's about creating a model that can be repeated in different communities without losing its purpose. For PDT, that means strong systems, local leaders, and a sustainable funding model. When the model works in Toronto, we can adapt it to other Canadian cities and eventually other markets around the world. The true measure of scale for us is not simply how many locations we open. It's how many of us move from vulnerability into stability, from exclusion to participation, and from receiving assistance, as so many of us have seen women like us do, receiving the assistance, to creating opportunities, not just for ourselves, but for others in this ecosystem.
So, Stephen, I got to come back to you then, sir. And listening to what she's saying, and I know from when we first started, but I want you to tell everybody again, your question is community. How does PDT create the community? How does it to the environment and the benefits?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's so good to hear things like that. It makes me proud, of how far we've come. And as I said in the onset there, we realize that the way to solve these problems is by involving the community. We have a phrase, "It's your city," and we challenge people saying, "It's your city. Are you proud of the fact that we have 15,800 people living in the streets of Toronto? I certainly hope not. Or double-digit hunger issues? I hope not. So we can do something about it. But in our model, as you know, our model is making sure that we do bring purpose and profit together. So we're not out begging for money and saying just put it in. We're saying get involved in the Do Good Society membership program, save 3 to 5 times what it would normally cost you on travel and going out to dinner and Blue Jay tickets. We have all these different things. And then at the same time, you're going to be traveling with purpose. When you take a trip now, a portion of that money that you save is actually going to doing good. So involving communities into different things, breaking it down for them, how we're going to start, changing Toronto and transfer. That's why it's called purpose-driven transformation. We're going to transform every city, starting with Toronto, into becoming the best version of itself possible. And that includes not having people living on the streets or going hungry. And that's really what it's all about for us.
So I want to welcome to the show part 2, Althea. Althea, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Glad to have you on the show. And
Can you
tell
hear
us a little
me?
bit about your background and how did you join this team? Yes, we can hear you. Tell us about your background and how did you join this team?
Well, as Moenda mentioned, I met the beautiful Svetlana at an event, and we just connect. Honestly, we just truly connect. And from that connection, she brought me onto different platforms, and we just hit it off. Just a healthy, good relationship. So a little bit about me. Again, I'm a mom of two, a teenager and a young adult. And how I got involved into PDT is just because of my passion in the non-for-profit sector and looking forward to build into the social enterprise, coming from that background and understanding the non-for-profit sector.
Fantastic. All right. So here it is for you. How do you measure impact? How do you measure the impact in a social impact enterprise? Like what's the measurement?
Sure. So, for how we measure the social impact is to measure by transformation, but not just by transaction. In PDT, we're looking to serve people, and how we serve people is how we're going to, change their lives. And how this initiative is going to work is how we're going to create impact opportunities. And within the PDT, we do believe that measuring both quantitative and qualitative measures outcomes are important to understand that the matrix are the numbers that we serve, and it's going to be on employment, partnership, creating volunteer engagement, raising funds, and community to develop and deliver events that's going to create social impact. And that's what we're looking for.
All right. So let's
And,
just keep it
to
going
develop
then.
leadership skills. Yeah.
So then leadership impact, tell us about the partnerships then.
So a little bit about the partnerships that we will be engaging in our social impact here is to accelerate the mission of building together the non-for-profit sector, the business sector, education, and in government, and bringing them all together into a space with different area of expertise, whether they be in funding, mentorship, employment opportunities. These resources is going to be able to influence how we're going to create leadership within the confinement of PDT.
So I know when we first started, I said to Stephen, and I'm going to ask you the first question I asked Stephen when we very first started this thing, okay? So I'm bringing back a question that I asked Stephen years ago. Where do you see it in the next 5 years?
Oh, I see PDT in the next 5 years, like, you know, bringing Canada, bringing a bigger awareness, not just in Toronto, but right across Canada. Who knows, right across North America as well. That's what I see this initiative doing. It's going to create social change, social impact right across major city in Canada.
So I'm going to go to you then, Wendy. She says, she sees it in Canada a couple of years. So here's my question for you. Entrepreneurship, the future in Canada, the economy, where do you see it? Where do you see it growing?
Right. Canada is rich in talent, especially among women, immigrants, and historically underrepresented people and communities. So, social entrepreneurship brings more of us into the economy, and it allows us to become creators of solutions, employers and wealth builders, while addressing food insecurity, as Stephen said, and housing instability and economic inclusion. So the future is not simply about building more businesses, it's about building better businesses like we are doing, that are profitable, sustainable, and accountable to the communities they serve.
Okay, so we talked about the impact. We talked about the location. We talked about what's benefiting, what we're doing to help the Canadians, the economy. Here's my last question, and it's for you, Savannah. Let's get right into it. What's the action plan? What do we got to do? What's the action plan? What do listeners got to do to jump on board, take action to help out not only the community, the business, the economy, everything? What is the action plan?
Get educated, learn about for-profit social enterprise, the need for for-profit social impact solutions in the marketplace. It's the right time to implement in the Canadian economy. We were waiting that timing and opportunity. Now it's the right timing. So we hit huge challenges end of last year. We hit unacceptable 10 million people living in food insecurity in Canada. So it has to be the right time and the right place. Number one, get educated. And my 6 exciting ways that people they can get engaged. Of course, they can become our ambassador. They can become our volunteer. They can become our member. They can become our impact investor. Learn very exciting impact investment opportunity. They can become our board member if credentials permits, and we are interviewing board members right now. And of course, we're interviewing a couple of more executive team members to add to our team. And of course, we welcome all social impact entrepreneurs, people who lead with a smile, and people who genuinely want to make a difference in our city.
Well, I know that I said that was my last question, but I'm going to throw one more to Stephen, just because Savannah talked about, all the levels. Stephen, what's good candidates? If somebody's really interested, what makes a good candidate for this?
I think that honestly, in Canada, especially Canada, I mean, we have good people who really want to see change, who really want to think, and they complain about the existing where it is today, 15,800 people living in the street, double-digit food. But for most people, they really, when you're complaining about something, I've always said you should come up with a solution. It's a little different. It's a little more difficult than that, because this is where we've been doing it for the last 75 years. So now they've got a solution, and this solution is strategically built so everybody can get involved. We want to carry that message out to the city of Toronto. We'll have the mayor at a press conference next month. We'll be telling people, say, this is your city. You want to be. I mean, the great thing, especially about the younger people today, is they really take value of the community that they live in. They take great pride in it. And so we want to tell them we need to come together to do this, but we're not asking them to, give something that they can't give or do something that they wouldn't normally do. We're saying you benefit as well. That's the ultimate goal of bringing purpose and profit together. You've got to do it in all facets of it. So by getting this 48.70, a month, paying that, you're going to save, at 600 a year, you're going to save probably 2,500 a year. So they're winning, so they can win but also do good. And I think that's really the key strategy that it took us all this time to really build, and now we are executing that. So yeah.
So I'm going to leave this to Thea and Wendy as the newbies, right? Tell everybody why. Just why. That's the main question, because people always, when you try to explain something to somebody, oh, this is this, they always ask why. Oh, you trying to tell them about this? They ask you why. Tell them the why before we leave today.
Right. So the why for me is very clear. Doing good. Doing good is it's Christian. I have a Christian background. It's the right thing to do for my neighbors. When I see people on the street or without food, it breaks my heart. It breaks my children's hearts. I have stories when my girl, who's 21 now, was really little. We went into this slum area back in Africa, and she was crying and crying just by sitting in the cars we drove through. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "These people don't have food." So it breaks my heart when I see other people don't have. So for me, the why is I get to do good and with great people around me too.
Yes, and that if you don't get it from that, you just don't get it at all. Plain and simple. We have so much. We need to utilize it better and work better. So thank you, everybody, for coming on. We appreciate you. And if you need more information, please look out for it. It's on social. We'll link everything to on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. It's there. Stephen, it's always been a pleasure. Savannah, much love. All right, everybody. You didn't have to watch. I'm so glad that you did. Thank you for joining us. And hey, we'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.